You probably have wondered why you're so different. What makes you different? What's the purpose behind you being you? And what I want to do here is to reassure you that everything is perfect the way it is. You are perfect the way you are. Now, that doesn't take away from the spiritual journey and the intention of quote unquote becoming better, which really what that means is coming into your true self. This journey isn't about changing who you are. It's about absolutely being the truth of who you are. And so when we think about this journey of connecting deeper with ourselves and deeper with the universe or deeper with God, we must understand this one thing, and that is you are God's niche. You are a niche of God. You are an individualized expression of God. Why is that? Well, because God wishes to have a particular experience, to experience a moment of remembering, right? Coming into this amazing awakened state of self-realization. And God is doing that by means of you, via you, through you, as you. And that's the beauty of it. And so when we think about this idea of you being a niche, think about it in terms of how we talk about niches in business and being an influencer and content creation. And, just in terms of even when we observe nature, apples, that's their niche, right? Grapes, that's their niche. Animals, right? Dogs, that's their niche. If you want to niche down even further, pit bulls, that is a detailed niche, right? Chihuahuas, that is a niche. But usually when we refer to niches, we're referring to business, right? If you want to, say, become an author, well, what kind of content, what kind of author will you be? Will you write novels or will you write self-help nonfiction books? If you go into the nonfiction realm, okay, what kind of nonfiction are you talking about? Are you going to go into, writing about, say, decluttering or organization? Are you going to write about finances? Are you going to write about spirituality or mindset? And then you can even go down further into that. Why is that important? Because you have a particular purpose behind your existence here in this physical realm. You have a message that is special to you and thus can be heard by many people like you who resonate with you and your message. And so I want you to think about your differences, not in terms of them being a bad thing, not in terms of them being something that is taking away from the experience or the desire that you have for yourself. I want you to think about what makes you different, what makes you unique, what makes you weird, right? I want you to think about those things in terms of what makes you special, what makes you different in terms of bringing change, positive change to the world, positive change to people's lives, especially your life. You see, when we think about and understand our connection with God, with the universe, and we think about how to align with things that we desire, like, money, like, a certain relationship, a certain environment, a home, a lifestyle. We have to understand that the only way, and I'm reluctant to say this is the only way, but you'll get it once I finish. The only way to achieve those things along with happiness and fulfillment, is to understand who you truly are. as a divine being, as a creator, as a individualized expression of God, and thus connecting to the authenticity of how you express that, how you experience that. God wants to have an experience called you, but you must understand that your ego in society is wanting to pull you away from you being your true self, right? So it is pulling you away from this self-realization, this journey of you being the God that you are meant to be, from you being the most authentic, the most pure aspect of yourself. Now, being authentic doesn't mean you keep it real in the sense of just being blunt and just saying things and doing things simply without having some mindfulness behind it. It means being mindful, but it also means connecting with what it is that you feel and what it is that you desire, what you don't want, what you do want. And so when you are on this journey, when you're thinking about yourself and you're thinking about your relationship with the universe, you're thinking about your relationship with money, with relationships, with your family, with kids, with friends, you're feeling lonely, all these the variety of things that happen throughout life. You know, when life is lifing, you always have to come back to the source of the fact that you are divine. You are God wanting to have an experience that is called you. And you cannot let those distractions, right, pull you away from the truth of this journey. They are distractions. Now, there are distractions that can be used for your benefit. You know, when you take a hard look at, say, your finances and you say, okay, I'm not really happy with the currency that I'm bringing into my life. When you look at your relationships and you say, I'm not really feeling fulfilled with these connections that I have. They can be opportunities for you to actually look at yourself because there are essentially reflections of you. You have to recognize that all of this entire universe is you. Yeah, you are experiencing it, roaming through it, existing in it, in the framework or in the form of your physical body, right? Your physical body is housing this divine consciousness of yours that is you, but also recognize that the universe, though it may seem to be separate from you, that is a serious illusion. So when you recognize that your body has multiple layers of itself, right? The skin, the muscles, the organs, cells, your brain, the way it functions have different layers of self, consciousness, conscious mind, subconscious mind, the ego. The entirety of your existence and everything you are experiencing are also layers of you, extending out as far out as the universe and its ever expanding growth. That is still you. It is all you. You are everything. You are just simply experiencing it in this niche down identity called you from your niched down perspective, point of view. So don't look at other people desiring to be them, wishing you can be them, envying them, being jealous of them. Because your perspective, your life, the way you're living, who you are, is just as valuable. You see, we all bring value to this table called Earth, right? And so your job, though, is to recognize what you bring, recognize how you can make a difference in a way that elevates the entire collective, how you can help support our collective spiritual journey. When you show up in a way that's authentic to you, when you are in acceptance, in love with yourself, when you recognize your own gifts and talents and passions, you inspire me. You inspire everybody who exchanges with you. Now, yeah, of course, there will be haters, but those haters will also be inspired because eventually they will begin to recognize that they were haters, they were envious because they, just like maybe you were doing, you were comparing, you were trying to captivate or grab a piece of somebody else's path, not recognizing that your path is just as beautiful, but just different. You see? So embrace who you are. Recognize that you are this special niche that God needs to be fulfilled. And when you recognize that, it gives you confidence and power to see yourself differently, but also pursue the goals and the aspirations, dreams, and passions that you have going on in your mind. You see, my message, my journey here is to help you to be that version of you that is calling you, that is seeking, yearning, almost even begging you to fall in line, to align. But you have to let go of the ego's desire and nature of simply just surviving and being quote unquote comfortable. Because this state of comfortability is in fact the most uncomfortable way of existing, ironically. So you have to push past the fear that the ego tends to spew out at you, right? Tends to throw at you, tends to speak to you. And you have to really understand that there is nothing to fear. You cannot fail because the Creator does not fail. There was just simply a process. There was just simply a path that you have to walk. Sometimes this path is unpredictable. And though you wish it were a straight line, it often isn't. But you must embrace that because this path, this wavy path, is really wavy because it is trying to help you to see yourself. And when I mean see yourself, I mean see your true self. Not this limited idea of self, but the self that is beyond the mind, that is beyond the emotions, beyond the history, the trauma, right? Beyond the story that you give yourself and the story that other people may give you. So you have to embrace your divine individuality. Embrace it to the point where it goes beyond everything that you can possibly imagine. You know, imagination is very key toward creating, materializing the things that you desire, right? It is what plants the seed. It is the seed itself of your desires growing and blossoming and bearing more fruit. But it also is the thing that allows you to go even further than the imagination, because you begin to see how limitless you are. Even a goal and an aspiration is a limitation, right? But then once we achieve that goal, we want to push further. We want to push further to a space of continuing to grow and expand, right? To reach out from our roots, to reach out from our branches. And so even as you grow and you reach out with your branches and you grow your fruit, those fruits, right, fall. When they get ripe, they fall from the tree. The seeds from those fruits grow even more trees. So what was once a seed actually becomes a forest. So your ideas, your goals, your aspirations, they are just simply the stepping stools, right? The footsteps. They are the pebbles in the sand of an entire beach, right? The grains of sand in the entire beach. They are something that is greatly significant to you in this moment, but they are also, at a certain point, evidence of your ability to create more and to keep going. Because, again, you are a creator. You are God expressed, living in this form called you. And so I just simply want you to hear that, think about it over and over again, and recognize that this connection between you, between your desires, is one that is a path that leads you to this idea of your future self and you being the version of you that is happy, fulfilled, and completely in alignment with all that you desire and ever could desire. It's this understanding that there is a part of you, an enlightened version of you, that is calling you to be it. And that, you see, is what we are all destined to achieve. So I thank you for listening. I invite you, go to futureselffrequency.com, where you can purchase the Future Self Frequency book along with the journal. You can also go to drabundant.com, where you can get a free ebook of the Future Self Frequency, the Essence Edition, and you can also get the first copy of the Deluxe Transformation Edition. Thank you so much. Remember, please remember, you are divine. You are God, individualized to experience life as you. And yes, I mean you. Peace and abundance always.